So today's video is about how to make weight loss as easy as you can make it for yourself. Notice how I didn't say make it easy, okay? Because being completely honest with you, it's not super easy, but you can make it a lot easier than what you might imagine it will be. So the very kind of first thing that I want to kind of touch on is we aren't going for weight loss. I just called it easy ways or how to make losing weight easy because that's what most people tend to think of. Weight loss is really the wrong way to look at it. A really good example of that is I could make you lose 2 pounds in about half an hour. Just put you in a sauna with a sweatsuit on and don't let you drink any water. There you go, you've lost 2 pounds. Do you actually look or feel any different? No. So what you want to be thinking about is changing the way that you look, fat loss, toning up, which is basically just losing fat and getting a little bit more muscle tissue. Something around that. So don't think about weight as as the main thing. If you focus on weight, if you're weighing yourself all the time, your weight's going to be up and down all the time, and then you could be quite susceptible to being like, yeah, I've lost a pound today, or I've put on half a pound, where in the grand scheme of things that doesn't actually matter at all, because you might not be changing anything about yourself apart from how much you actually weigh. So in terms of practical things, what you can do, I think one of the most important things is in terms of moving, exercising, all that sort of stuff, is pick something that you know that you're going to enjoy, or try to do different things if you're not 100% sure on what it is that you are going to enjoy doing. So for example, going out and walking a couple of times a week, going swimming, getting a bike, going cycling, cycle to work a couple of days a week, trying out tennis or basketball, or going for a jog here and there, getting a gym membership, getting a yoga mat and doing some exercise at home, bodyweight exercises, actually doing yoga for a couple times a week. Basically anything that you think that you are going to enjoy, I would recommend to try doing that. And if you find that you actually enjoy it, then rather than thinking of you have to do exercise, you get to do something that you enjoy, and that I do believe would be something that's a lot more enjoyable, basically. And that's kind of the whole goal for the first one. Find something that you're going to be able to do that's going to be enjoyable for you, rather than kind of building something up that you're not going to enjoy, that you kind of then have to force yourself to do. Now, with going on this journey of changing how you look or losing fat, adding muscle, whichever kind of one it is that you want to do, I think for mainly this one it's going to be losing fat. I think the best way to track progress on the back of what I've just said is initially to take a picture, clothed or underwear. Now what I would do is I would take a front on picture, I would take a side on picture so you can see how everything looks from a sideways, and I would also get someone to take a picture from the back so that you can actually see exactly how you look. Now it might not be the most comfortable thing to do, but it's really important that you have a starting block, because you could be doing this for a year. If you don't have any pictures of yourself because you don't like taking pictures, or you don't like having pictures taken, then you might not really know that you're making progress until your clothes are a little bit tighter or a little bit more loose. So that would be something that I would recommend. Now in terms of tracking progress, take the first pictures as soon as you can, basically. Then what I would do is give it about 2 to 3 months, and then take some more pictures, and then after that I would take them every 3 to 4 months. So take your first pictures 2 to 3 months later of doing the stuff that we're going to come on to in a moment. 2 to 3 months take kind of your first progress pictures, and then every 3 to 4 months after that. Now you'll notice that I'll say every 3 to 4 months after that. This isn't something that is an overnight kind of process. The process of getting to where you've got now has taken maybe a year, 5 years, 8 years, 10 years, 15, 40 years, I'm not sure. So I wouldn't kind of hold your breath to, set off all guns blazing, only eat broccoli and lettuce and chicken for 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden, you look fabulous. I think you need to have a much more realistic kind of outlook on the fact that this is going to take a while. Now this is why I'm giving you this information, to make the process of doing this as enjoyable as you can, rather than not enjoying it and then it becomes something you have to do, and then you do it for 2 months and then you see some results, you feel good about it, and then you stop, and then kind of you go back to where you're at now, or even more away from where you want to be. So it's a long journey. That's why you need to do things that are going to be enjoyable for you, and also with the pictures it will allow you to see whether you're actually making progress or not. If you're not making the progress that you want to, then you know that there's some tweaks that can be made. If you are making the progress that you want to, cool, carry on doing what you're doing and keep enjoying it as much as you can. I think another part to do with this is food and nutrition. Massive part of how you look, how you feel. Now, I think there's a bit of a misconception with when you want to kind of lose fat, change how you look, that you have to eat super strict, and also that all those foods taste really boring. Not the case. I would recommend, for example, if you're someone that eats, say, I don't know, a big chocolate bar like this every day, the first thing I would do is have half every day. So you're still having a little bit, but in the grand scheme of things, you're halving the amount of bad food that you have, which is quite a lot. And then after a couple of weeks of doing that, try and half that again, and a couple of weeks after that, try and half it again. And then if you can get to the point where you don't eat any bad food apart from maybe on one day, and you have, rather than having one of these bars every day, you have a quarter of these bars every week. And then that goes from eating 7 big bars to a quarter of 1 bar, which is a massive difference. And I think you can look forward to it, you enjoy it more, you still get to have your little fix. I like chocolate, I'm a foodie, I understand what it's like, so make it sustainable and do things that you can stick to. In terms of actual foods that you eat, as an overall, what I would recommend is, if you're not someone that understands about healthy food, you can basically eat anything that is a whole food. So whether it's a nut, a seed, a fruit, a vegetable, a meat, and that's pretty much as kind of compact as you can keep it. I think the really key thing to remember is, whichever kind of route you look at, whether you want to follow a specific way of eating or whether you want to just generally eat good foods, I think everybody has different ways that they'll be able to stick to it best. So figure it out by trying different things for a few weeks here, a week there, a couple of days here, and then you'll come across one thing or a couple of different ways and create your own way of doing it that's sustainable for you specifically, because everybody's different. You've all got the likes, their interests, the dislikes. You've all got different timetables. All have different ways of cooking. Do you cook at night, in the morning? Can you cook for a few days? What do you prefer to do? All those types of things are going to come into effect in terms of how you kind of structure all of this for yourself. So that's something to consider. Try different things, find out what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and then keep doing that. I would say, in terms of what you're cooking and how you're kind of making food, if you're not good with seasoning and trying things, then that's exactly what you need to do. You need to start and try. You need to look at recipes. You need to, look at maybe getting a couple of cookbooks, or use YouTube and Google and just type in, how to make roasted chicken with seasoning and flavor. And I guarantee there will be millions and millions of different ways you can do it. How to make sweet potatoes with some seasoning, how to make vegetables with seasoning. You can have flavor on your food, just don't go crazy with sauces. I'm talking about, herbs, an actual powdered seasoning that comes in jar that you can sprinkle in, things like that. One also main thing that I do want to make sure I cover in this video is that you drink water. Now, I would recommend, first thing that goes in your body in the morning is a good glass of water, maybe a couple of glasses of water. And I would probably recommend, well, I do recommend I recommend having water with every meal as well. What we consume, because we don't just eat things, we also drink, and that literally goes into your body. So I don't want you to think about just what you eat as kind of totaling up to how you look and how you feel. You've got to be aware of, it's everything that you consume, from the foods that you eat, the things that you drink. And then, on a little bit of a tangent, what type of things you watch on TV, what type of music are you listening to? Is it quite upbeat, happy stuff, or are you a bit more of, you watch the news in the morning and then that puts you in a bad mood, and then because you're in a bad mood, you're maybe a little bit more likely to then sink into different foods, or you watch a lot of TV that you've seen before, so you get bored, and then you boredom eat, and that's bad food. So it starts to link in a little bit with what you're consuming as a person. Now, in terms of what you're consuming and snacking, the best piece of advice that I can give you for that would be to try and consume foods that are high in protein and high in good fats. So that doesn't mean a load of fried chicken or a pizza with loads of meat on. That doesn't class as a healthy protein and a healthy fat. I mean things like nuts, seeds, things of that nature. For me personally, I snack on nuts all the time. I have a big, I've literally actually got one of these. I know it's backwards, but that says mixed nuts. And I buy one of these every couple of days, have it in my car, put it in my bag wherever I go, and then when I get hungry, take a handful and I eat them. And apparently they're really good for your hair, and I've grown my hair out recently, so something must be going right because it's looking pretty sleek, if I'm being honest. So in terms of practicalities with snacking, if you're hungry, eat. Don't eat until the point of when you're bursting full. Just eat until you're not hungry. And if you end up eating twice a day, 4 times a day, 6 times a day, that's cool. Just make sure that you don't go starving hungry, because then your body will kick out a load of different stuff to try and basically get you to eat more. And also, without going into it too much, being hungry for too long too often isn't good for you. So you definitely want to eat. The key thing is to make sure you eat the right foods, and you can't really go wrong with that. You can definitely overeat, but that's why I'm recommending not to eat to the point where you're absolutely stuffed. If you're eating until you're stuffed 5 times a day, then you're eating too much. Use common sense with this type of thing. Finally, the last thing, well, 2 more things I want to go through is exercising. Pick something that you enjoy. As I mentioned earlier, if you do something that you enjoy, it's going to make it a lot easier. Now, I would recommend aiming for exercising or doing some type of movement at least once a week. If that's all you can commit to, or you can find time to do that, once a week is better than nothing. I would probably more realistically try and aim for 2 to 3 times a week. And then once you start and feel comfortable with that, and again, if it's something that you enjoy, you might end up doing something every day. There's no reason why you couldn't, as an example, go for 1 jog a week, go for a swim a week, cycle to work 2 days a week. So then that's run, cycle twice, you've got to swim, play basketball once a week, do yoga once a week, and then go play football 1 day a week. And if you do a good stretch after each one of those, you're eating good foods, you're consuming happy things that are going to put you in a positive mood, or you're just staying away from negative stuff, I don't see any reason why that would be considered too much. It's not like, you put lifting weights every day. I think it's very personal to you. If you're someone that's just starting off, then I would definitely recommend starting with 1 to 2 a week, maybe 3 times a week, nice and gentle. And if you feel good off that, you can either increase the amount of time that you do it for. So rather than playing football for half an hour, you can do it for 40 minutes. Or rather than cycling to work 2 a week, you might go 3 times a week. It's completely dependent on how you feel with it. If you feel good and you feel a little bit more hungry for it, you want to get a little bit more, then try an extra day, try an extra half an hour here. And I think that's a key thing. If you push it too much too fast, you're going to hit a wall and then you bounce back. Whereas if you slowly creep, then you get into a walk, then you get into a run, and then you're kind of on the way on your journey in a nice progressive manner, which is, I do believe that's the best way, especially if you've never really done it before, or you're very, very new to it. Now, the most important thing with this that I can't stress enough, if you could only take one thing away from this video, it would be, whatever you do, no matter how small or how big it is, if you exercise once a week or you exercise 5 times a week, whether your nutrition is absolutely immaculate all week or you pig out every day, if you can do something that is a little bit better than what you were doing the week before, or you can keep it consistent for that next week, or you only exercise once this week rather than 0, then you need to pat yourself on the back. You need to say well done to yourself, because it's all about seeing it in a I've done this, which is a good thing, rather than, oh, I said I was going to exercise 3 times, but I only exercised twice, and I ate a full tub of ice cream last night, and then kind of going in that downward spiral. Because that's not going to help you for tomorrow. That's, if anything, it's going to build up more of a wall for you to have to overcome. So don't be too harsh with yourself. Remember that it's about, at the end of the day, feeling better, moving around better. If you want to look better, then that can be a goal as well. It's completely predicated on what you want. But I'd say overall, the main goal for this type of thing is, as I say, move better, feel better, and looking better. So if you can do something that constitutes towards that as a goal, no matter how big or how small it is, that is a positive, and that is something that you should focus on. Pat yourself on the back, because it's something that you've done it. You know, at the end of the day, it's something that you've actually thought about wanting to do. You've took action and you've done it. So then you should pat yourself on the back. It's a good thing to do. So that's it for today, guys. How to make it as easy as you can for yourself. You want to focus on the process and find something that you enjoy. Take before and after, or kind of before pictures and progress pictures. First one with 2 to 3 months, and then every 3 to 4 months after that. You want to eat some healthy foods and learn how to cook them nice. Have snacks on hand that are healthy, so you don't end up going to the market and the shops and buying a load of biscuits and things like that, because that's, I think, for most people where they tend to go wrong. If you've got it there and it's eating and like, oh, I need a snack, oh, there we go, nice and easy, done. Don't need to go out and buy the wrong foods. Drink as much water as you can. Again, don't go overboard with your food or your water. And try and exercise a couple times a week and do something that you enjoy. Pat yourself on your back. That's it for today. If there's anything that I can answer in terms of questions, please drop something down in the comments box below, and I will be more than happy to help.